So don't know all the episode that thing. Kind of wanted to have a conversation Black History Month with a whole nother in Black History, our hair, the cultural appreciation, appropriation of our hair, heritage, legacy, all of these different things that are part of our hair that you might not even think about, especially if you're not black. But even if you are black, personally, I've been bald most of my life. Thinking about hair was something I really, and so it's been really interesting the last few growing my hair, seeing the different ways that it takes, and we just wanted to have a conversation, share some perspective, maybe understand, grow. So take it over to Dom, open us up there, and we just get in.
All right. Um, Thank you guys for this time. Thank you for this platform and the ability to have these kinds of conversations. I ask that through this conversation, we'd all be able to learn something, be able to take in new perspectives, maybe understand something that we didn't understand previously. Again, thank you for the ability to have talks like this. And pray.
Amen. All right. So what I would like to start us off with is how do you personally feel about your right? So like when you watch movies, music videos, television shows, you're out in the world, seeing things on the internet. There's a lot of different opinions putting out about everything. But as it pertains to hair, there's different opinions about black hair and professionalism of the different styles that our hair, different things like that. But how do you personally? I'd love to start with you, Petrino. How do you feel about your hair?
Me personally, I honestly love my hair. I've loved my hair my entire life. Started off with waves, then went to a fro, and now the dreads, of course. But I've always loved my hair. I've been criticized for having bad hair a lot from black people. White people, it doesn't really matter. People want to call my hair a mop and stuff like that, but I've always loved the texture of my hair. You feel me? I'm in love with it, especially now with the length and everything, the styles that you can do with your hair. You know, just in love, honestly.
What about you, Miss Sterling? This is Sterling. My apologies.
No, no worries, no worries. I mean, I'm pretty much in the exact same boat. I love my hair too. I mean, it took me a little while probably to get to that point, but now I can honestly say I love it, especially now that I know pretty much what works for it as far as like the products, the maintenance. That has really become a game changer for me. So I'm along with him. I love my hair also.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Especially starting with locks, like trying to figure out, okay, what products actually work for me, what do I need to do. I've been doing this wrong for all these months, but like once you get to that point where you got your own routine and everything is good to go, it's like I wouldn't trade this for the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Especially the beginning. The beginning is rough.
Oh man, dang it though.
You got some little bumps in your hair. The beginning is rough, honestly.
That
But
quote unquote ugly stage is what some people refer to it
I wanted
as.
to cut my hair so many times.
Awkward stage.
Yeah, for real.
When I first started locking up, that's one of the over and over again, like, bro, you're gonna want to cut your hair when it gets to this certain point. Don't do it. Just work through it. And I can honestly say, like, so far, I've only been to, well, actually three. Between the three of them, I haven't yet been in a stage where I'm like, I don't like the way it looks. Like I've been feeling it. I don't know if it's because I got the salt and pepper going on or what it is, but I just been feeling it. So I'm in like, ooh. Like,
Or if you feeling the salt and pepper, come take a couple of these that I've been finding lately. You can have them.
yeah, it's been a fun journey for me. Like I said, been bald like whole life. Like you said, Petrino, the waves was always popping. I think every young black dude either had the wave, you either wanted the waves, had them, or you wanted the fro and was cool with it. And I think probably when I was like 16, 17, 18-ish, I started. I don't know why. I wanted a Jerry curl, right? I wanted a Jerry
Okay.
curl so bad. And I think I was like, I was watching like a bunch of 80s movies and stuff, and I was like, oh, I want that Jerry curl. And I think I probably just got done watching Five Heartbeats. Like, yeah, I want that. And so I went and I bought some, it was not the texturizer, but the perm that you put in for the Jerry curl. I went and bought some, except for it didn't curl my hair. It made my hair straight, like but I wouldn't
Almost
say
like you
it.
relaxed it.
Yeah, it like all the way. So it was like I was like, oh, I got white people hair now. This is crazy, right? But I was like, and so I didn't. It was like a fro, but it was like laid down, like it was the texture of white people. I'm like, man, what do I do? So I had one of my sisters at the time. Right, we finna figure out how to make this into something. So I had her gelled my hair down on the sides and in the back, and then like spiked it up into a fro hawk on the top, and then just blow dried it. And so I was rocking that for I don't know, maybe a year or so, like on and off. It was crazy. And then a couple years later, I went back to it. Outside of that, like and waves, little mini fro, because it's like you don't got when you're doing the waves, you're either gonna be dedicated to the waves, brushing them, putting the wave cap on, all of that, or you not, and you ain't got waves no more, but you still got a fresh cut. So it's like low maintenance. That's where I was, man. Like I'm always losing do rags. What can I do? And when I started this block journey, man, it was weird for me. It almost felt like my entire being was begging me to lock my hair up. And like I don't know, it was weird. I can't explain. I just like do this, and I never had a desire for them. And quite frankly, I had always heard and always believed that like in order for you to get locks, your hair has to be like dirty and nasty and you can't wash it. And I was like, yeah, that's not gonna be me. like
Far from the truth. Far from the truth.
And I'm glad for it too.
yeah, couldn't be
Just
me.
those first couple months with not watching it. Yeah, because I think I went 4 months.
Oh
Yep.
no, sir. I could barely go 2 weeks. No. I was like, this ain't
And
working.
it wasn't by choice. The loctician I was at the time was like, no, let's not watch. And I will say, they locked up crazy fast. But my head was on fire all day, every day.
I mean, even, oh no, I literally got mine. I started mine a year and a half ago now, and like within 3 weeks, I was already starting to bud. So I was like, okay, all right, let's keep it going. But because I'm in the military and I work out so much, I was like, this is not gonna work. I have to wash my hair. I cannot go 2-3 months without just saying, no, this ain't working. So my loctician was like, no, you good. Just put a stocking cap on it and wash it that way. So try not to disturb it too much. And so that's what we did for the first maybe 6 weeks. And then after that, I was okay. But I was like, oh no, this ain't gonna work, honey.
When I first started,
go ahead.
When I first started, I was getting my hair done like every couple of days because I would just sweat it out. Honestly, and I would go crazy because I'm not about to sit here and have my hair all kinds of bushy and just looking wild going outside. So I would just sit in the house, just palm roll myself, just keep it just to get to lock.
Yeah, and we're gonna get in that too, because I have some thoughts about just the actual how it looks and maintaining it. You know what I'm saying? That's a big one for me. But so we all love our hair. And we've all listed kind of why we love our hair, but do you feel like does your hair hold any significance beyond just being your hair, like the hair on your head? Does it hold any kind of significance for you besides that?
For me, it was a spiritual journey. Like, I was going through some stuff at the time, and I was just ready for some growth and to just take my life to the next level. And I was like, I'm gonna start my locks, and then I'm not gonna look back. Like, this is just, you're going forward. So for me, this is a spiritual thing. Like, it's a reminder to myself never to give up and just to keep going forward. Honestly.
Feel that.
Yeah, definitely. But you must.
So for me, it's more of a matter of personal expression and versatility. So like I've been on this earth 33 years, and when I tell you I've had a plethora of hairstyles, I'm talking I did the weaves, I did the wigs, I did the relaxers, I did the braids. I mean, I literally, when I say done, at one point I even had a fade. And then, after cutting that off, I returned back to my natural state, wearing a fro for a little while, and then eventually transitioned to locks. So, I like to, change things up a little bit every so often. But also with me being in the military, it's hard to kind of conform to some of the standards. And when I say that, I mean referring to us having to wear the uniform and look a certain way. So out of all of that, the only thing that I have control over is my hair to a certain degree. So literally that is like one of the only things other than my personality, that's the only thing that gives you some type of individuality when you're inside of the uniform.
Yeah. I feel that like one of the as far as hair and it's more facial hair. Like for me, that I didn't like. I don't know if Chris told, and I
Okay.
didn't
Oh
like.
yeah.
I had a no shave chip, and I didn't like that I was not allowed to line it up. And it was like this idea that somehow because when I shave my chin and face bumps up, that I'm supposed to not line it up. Yet I'm supposed to be neat and presentable. Like, man, if you let me go get that line, you gonna see how neat and presentable I look. That's gonna be fire. Instead, you want me walking around with a bush on my face. And so I always thought that that was crazy. I'm like, yo, one of the things. Well, I'm not even getting the aspect. That's a whole nother conversation. Um, but what I wanted to bring up was like the hair appreciation, right? And I know you both kind of touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to kind of ask you about your appreciation for where it comes from, how you got there. So like for me, as you said, Miss Sterling, multiple hairstyles throughout the course of my life, tried a whole bunch of different things, personal expression, and then like you said, Pat, with the locks, it's been a spiritual journey. But as I look back on all the different hairstyles, I realized that it has all been one of a few things. It's like the personal expression journey that I'm on, or conforming, right? And I think one of the things that we've seen in recent years is like this freedom for Black people to like be Black, kind of. It's like growing up for me. I remember like the the cool thing to do. You know what I mean? Like in my it was like being white, so being white and doing white things, having white hairstyles, if you can pull it off as a Black dude. So like that fro hawk that I was talking about, like that was the coolest thing in the world around my town. It was like, oh man, like how do you do that, bro? Like, don't worry about it. And now I'm able to look back and I'm like, I was trying to be things that wasn't meant for me. Whereas now, like when I said it, it felt like Blacks was calling me. Is like just return to your natural. I mean, now that's not to say just let it freeform because I ain't doing that. You know what I mean? But and so like the appreciation for me, it's been a journey to appreciating my hair and having to learn about. I always thought that my hair was one way and not the other. Like when I would throw it out, I remember I always wanted cornrows, but I never could get my hair to grow, and I just thought that my hair didn't grow past 3 inches. And then when I got the locks put in, I found out like, oh no, it's like you have this type of hair, so you have to do this and you have to do that. It's not going to be the same as other Black people. I'm like, hold on, what? We're not the same. Like, and so like this journey has been so wonderful. But what has it been like for you guys? Like coming to and learning to appreciate your hair and the culture of your hair and not just locks, but just as a Black person.
I've always appreciated my hair personally. I mean, I've gotten a lot of flack for it, and sometimes I'm not gonna lie, it did hurt because it's like it's my hair. It's how I feel. It's how I want to show myself. You get what I'm saying? Like I had um the wild fro, never would comb it out, just let it straight nap out. I want to show all kinds of naps. You get what I'm saying? Nice little fade on the side, keep yourself clean. And nobody appreciated it but me. But to be honest with you, it helped build my self-confidence back up. Honestly, you could look in the mirror and you'd be like, nah, I really like how I look. You get what I'm saying? So for me, I've always appreciated my hair, whether it was wavy, and I'm sitting there brushing it all crazy times of the night, putting my dewy on. Like I've always appreciated it. I've always appreciated different styles and trying out different trends. Even now, especially with the length of my hair, trying to do buns and all kinds of crazy things with it. Um, I don't think it's been a rough journey for me, but I will say that I really have been appreciating my hair.
That's what's up.
I had to learn. Not even gonna lie, I had to learn to appreciate mine. Um, as long as I can remember, I mean, I've always had what I would consider thin hair, and I hated it. I'm like, why can't I have this a little bit thicker? Or it no matter what I did, no matter how like different products I would use, like it would just not thicken up. And I guess just over the years, I just realized like, okay, my mom has thin hair, my grandmother has thin hair. It's just I guess I can say it's hereditary. At least that's what I tell myself anyway. But I mean, eventually I just had to get over it and just be like, all right, it is what it is. And now that I have children, I have to talk to, say, my 8-year-old. Me and her had a conversation a few months back about hair. And I can't remember what the conversation was, but I remember she made a comment about, Mommy, I hope you don't ever cut my hair, short hair. I don't like it. It's not cute. So I had to sit her down and tell her, I need you not to have this way of thinking. It doesn't matter if you have hair on your head, no hair on your head. It doesn't matter. You're beautiful regardless. If something happened today and we had to cut all your hair off, guess what? You're still beautiful regardless. Hair does not make you. So, I guess, over the years, you just end up evolving and, you just end up growing and learning. But like I said, now having kids, it also makes me look at things a lot differently. So, like I said, I love my hair now. Like I said, it took me a while to really get to that point, but I'm here nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm with you. And listening to Petrol, I'm like, man, I wish I had that all through my life.
Always? Okay, cool.
Because for me, it was like I've always been under the impression that if I didn't have a buzz or a fade, that I could not be taken seriously, in America. Like I had to have really short hair. Anything else was nappy or unkept or messy, and I didn't care about myself. I couldn't get no jobs. And that's my thought process all the time. And I think that lasted until, because I've only had my locks for about a year. That lasted until maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago. When I was just like, you know what, this is my hair, and I really don't know why I came to the realization, but I just got to a point where I was like, no, this is my hair, and I should be allowed to do with it what I want. That's when I was going crazy with styles, whether it was twists. I had a mohawk twist. Just whatever I could think of to do, I would do for like a month or two at a time. And I was finally like, you know what, I'm gonna lock it up. And getting locks for me was just the pinnacle, I feel like, of this journey of learning how to appreciate the hair that grows out of my head. Because I would always look at it, and not even just like white people, like any other race for the most part, and be like, man, if I could just have hair like them, like whatever I want, I have no problems with it. Nobody would say anything to me or look at me crazy or ask me questions about it. But yeah, I was finally able to get to the point where I was like, nope, this is me, this is mine. I love it. And kind of speaking of races and cultures, we about to get to the nitty gritty.
Favorite part.
Yeah. So, how do you feel personally about people touching your hair?
Um, uh, I mean, I personally like my hair to be played with, but I like my personal space. Don't just come up to me and touch my hair or ask me, "Can you touch my hair?" That's to me, that's kind of disrespectful. But I mean, I like my hair to be played in, my head to be rubbed. I'm that kind of guy. But when
You
it
talking
comes
about
to
like by your girl?
yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course. But like, or for a random person or even a friend or something like that, just be like, "Yo, let me play in your head." Like, nah, we not gonna go there. You know what I'm saying?
Can I touch it? No.
Mhm. Ugh. Um, so it's funny. I actually never, well, at least I can't remember anyone of a different race asking me, can they touch my hair? But I do feel like if someone did, um, it would be more of a do I know you type of thing. Like I don't, like he said, I don't want no random person just coming up to me and say, hey, can I touch your hair? COVID out there. I don't know about that, but you know, but I want to say this wasn't me it was me personally, but it wasn't me. So back in 2013, I had just gotten stationed in Guam, and I won't never forget it. We weren't even on the island for a week yet. I remember my husband, my daughter, and my daughter was one at the time. We were walking through the mall, and some random lady, I believe she was Asian, she came up to us and just grabbed my daughter and started touching her hair. Now, the mama in me was like, what the hell? I'm looking at my husband, he's looking at me like, I don't really like this. But because I was in a new area, I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want to, come off as like what I would consider the angry Black woman. I didn't know if this was this lady's first time coming in contact with Black people, let alone an American. You know what I mean? So I had to like quickly think of like, what should I do here? But like I said, I didn't want to disrespect her or offend her in any way, but it definitely made me feel some type of way because not only was it my child, and like I said, I don't know you, so that whole situation was very weird. But like I said, to me personally, I haven't had that, but that situation that I just explained, it involved me. I guess you can say it, if you can say it that way.
So I kind of feel like y'all kind of answered it, but I wanted to be more focused on this. Like, does race and culture come into effect? So, like for me, I've never had an Asian person or Hispanic. Like, it's only ever been white people. Now, granted, I've spent most of my life around mostly white, and that's probably one of the very few Black people I interact with on a regular basis. So it's like they're not. I understand that you're not used to seeing this, like except for on TV. But no, you can't touch my hair. And I think for me, I think maybe it does. I think race maybe does. I think it would be not silly, but probably naive for me to say it for me, right? Because one of the ways that I feel, and I was sharing this with you earlier, Patrick. I feel like when white people talk to me, touch your hair. But first of all, their hand is already out to touch it. It's like it's not can I touch your hair, waiting for a response. It's like can I touch your hair? Because I'm just going to say yes. No, I'm not going to say yes. If you're seeing this, I'm not saying yes. Keep your hands to yourself. That's one. But it's like can I touch it? Can I play with it? How do you make it do that? And it's like I noticed the fascination and maybe even admiration that they have for our hair, the hairstyles, the things with them they maybe feel can't do. I understand that and I appreciate it. But what kind of irks me also a little bit, and this is what kind of irks me a little bit is that appreciation and that admiration for our hair, but not for our existence. And so like on that level, it kind of bothers me. It's, love my hair, you love everything else about me other than my existence. And so no, you can't touch my hair. I think I'd probably be more inclined. Black person was like, "Yo, can I touch your hair?" Like, because I think for me that would be like, "Yo, I know what your hair feels like. It mine feels the same, but maybe you have a different style that I'm thinking of. So it would be more of like exploratory rather than inquisition, where it's just like I feel like I own you type deal.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's how it feels for me. Like, does the race matter or the culture matter? Like, Southern black person can they touch your hair?
I mean, I've had black people ask me to see my hair, but they're not really asking to touch it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Somebody's really asking me to touch my hair is usually somebody white or somebody of a different race. And then even then, uh, it's not coming across to me as the wrong way, but it's just why. You get what I'm saying? Like, what are you so fascinated about? What do you wanna feel for? Like, I don't understand. It's
yeah,
so to me, it's not really an issue of race for me. It's just it's my personal space. You get what I'm saying? I don't know you. Whether you were white, black, Mexican, Asian, it doesn't matter. When it comes to personal space, please back up. Honestly, especially when it comes to my hair and my face and stuff like that. Like you're getting too close. And I've had a couple of people like really try to they love my hair, say they want to touch it, it looks so cool. And then 5 minutes later say, oh, dogs can't see black people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
yeah,
get where
yeah,
you're
yeah.
coming from on the race aspect of it. I don't me personally, I don't think it has to do with the owning thing, because I mean they do reach out and try to touch your hair before you even give them an answer, but that really is a thing. But for me, me personally, I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've personally never had anyone um, ask to touch that I can remember anyway. Um, but I've either seen or heard of of people doing that. But like I said, I think it is more of a fascination thing and a thing of like, oh man, we can't do that with our hair, but in reality, you really can. You just don't know the method or the right method in which to get your hair like this. Now, granted, your hair can't grow out of your scalp like mine does,
Yeah.
Right.
but the style, but the style itself, depending on what that may be, yeah, you more than likely will be able to do this too. It might not last as long, it might not look as good, but you can still do it too. You just gotta, I guess, know the right people and know where to go to get it done or learn how to do it.
And for me, it's both. Like race doesn't play a part, but it does because half of me feels like it's just a kind of common decency thing, no matter what your race is. Like we keep saying, personal space. Like don't just run up and touch their head or their face. Like just know to do that. I feel like as a human being. But then at the same time, I also feel like it kind of does play a part. And whether or not this comes from not living around or seeing a lot of black people, it almost comes off as we're some sort of like attraction. At least that's how I feel about it. Like, oh look, it's a black person. Look at their hair, and they just want to touch it like it's a petting zoo. And to me, it's a little bit dehumanizing because it's like I'm not just sitting around here waiting for kids to come up and rub my head. I remember back when I would have a fro, like in middle and high school. Yeah, it'd be like, if not that, then oh, it's so spongy, and just like put your whole hand in it. And first of all, I'm like, I don't pick my fro out for 15 minutes this morning before I got to school, and you just put your whole palm in it. But that's how it feels. It's like I'm not a sideshow. You know what I'm saying? Like at least ask so that I can say no. But don't
because it's gonna be no.
right. But don't humanize me. By just assuming one that it's okay, but then two that I'm just some like attraction to come up and touch and try out. I just it feels dehumanizing. Um, and but with that, I also wonder sometimes how much slack we should give people in that. Because like I mentioned at first, I don't know if that comes from you just don't view me as that much of a person, or I've just never been around black people and I don't know how to act. Like, is there room for education in situations like that, or should we just kind of have this idea of you should intrinsically know better than this, and there's nothing I need to say to you? How do you feel that we should go about kind of dealing with situations like that?
I feel like there is some room for education because I grew up a lot around a lot of black people. Like the only white people I would see were either my teachers, cops, or like they work in a bank or something. So when I moved to a predominantly white area and they were acting the way they were acting, I could understand like you really don't see a lot of black people. You're not around a lot of black people. So I can get it, you know, and a lot of this is trained behavior that they've been passing on for generations. You get what I'm saying? So I do feel like there are some people that want to do better and don't mind putting the effort to doing better. And I do feel like as black people, we do need to start, if we do have white friends, educating them if they're willing to learn. But yeah, for sure, I do feel like there is room for growth there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I think just from my own personal experience that I also in the back of my mind have to keep in mind other people's cultures and upbringings as well. Because just because in the US we're accustomed to a certain thing or a certain way, you know, because I've been able to travel outside of the US, that may not necessarily be a cultural norm for them. Them just being able to walk up to other people and say whatever, do whatever, like the lady in Guam. I didn't know if that was something that they did in their culture. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But like stateside, we talking a whole different story. You feel like, all right, you ought to be able to respect my boundaries and respect my personal space. Um, so I definitely think there is room for education, but at the same token, like I said, we also have to keep in mind that, like you said, everyone doesn't grow up in the exact same environment. Everyone's upbringing is different. Not a lot of people have, you know, grown up or even seen very many black people until, you know, a certain point in their life. So yeah, it is curiosity. Now, it is, I think it's a matter of tactfulness, I guess, in a way in which they could either ask or, you know, inquire or easily Google. Because I'll pull out a phone real quick and be like, hey, let me Google this real quick. Google give you some tips and tricks now.
Yeah,
But you know,
Good. How do you feel?
I mean, I feel like it's again a like quality kind of thing. Like I feel both ways about it. And I think Petronel, what you said about friends that are willing, I think that's a big thing to consider. You know, who's actually willing to talk about this and learn something and change something versus who doesn't really care and they just gonna do what they want to do and find a way to justify it. Because I do feel like you said, like when the people just they don't know sometimes. Especially overseas. I was born in Germany, and I was only there for 2 months, but my parents tell me that all the time people would just, or at least with my mom, would walk up and just rub her skin, whole face on her, or whole hand on her face. Say, "Oh, pretty chocolate," and they're just like bewildered and so curious, and they don't see black people, so they have no clue that something is wrong. Apparently, as a baby, they loved me because I was just, I guess, some little chocolate drop and that they had never seen before. So, I had to do it. So yeah, I think that culturally, as far as other countries go, I feel like there's especially room for education when we are such a minority that we almost have no presence. Stateside, I feel like there's room for education, people who truly want to be educated. But I'm also a firm believer in not casting my pearls among swine. So if you show me that you don't care, then at that point I'm like, okay, but that's done. This is just a rule for you. Don't come at me. Don't approach me. Don't dare ask. And we have nothing left to say about it. So I feel like it's something that kind of have to go case by case with. Of course, establishing that ground rule of no, you cannot just come up and touch it. But then from there, we can either get into why, or if you're not willing, then that's just
And yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Like there's obviously room to grow, to learn, but each individual person has to be willing, just like with everything else, right? You're talking about the way as a culture we look at women, or the way we look at other cultures, or the way we look at any individual section or group of things or people. Like you can learn, but only if you're willing to learn. And so I think, like Petron said, you got people in your life that are willing to learn, that want to learn, and I think we're kind of obligated. I was saying, I mean, obviously, there's Google and all that other stuff, but I believe firmly in personal learning from people, rather than like looking. I can learn so much better if Dom says, "Hey, Charles, this is how you do this," or "This is why this is like that," and trying to read it on Google, because it's going to take me like 30 minutes just to comprehend what I read before I can even process it, try to learn it, right? So I think that, yeah, we got to be willing to those that are willing to. Um, I I think that expecting anybody to just know cultural things is ridiculous. Like for me in here, but growing up, I was raised first thing you do in the morning, you brush your teeth, you wash your face. Other people weren't raised that way. So it's like when I'm around people who like the first thing they do when they wake up is not brush your teeth, wash their face. I don't say, yo, you're nasty, go brush your teeth, wash your face. Like, I mean, I'm a monitor you, like we all learn different things at different stages in our lives. Like we just different. But as far as hair, it's funny though, I haven't had single person ever ask me about hair other than to touch it or how do I make it do that. Like they don't want to learn about the culture of it. They just want to touch it, right? Which kind of leads into the next point that I wanted to bring up. Yeah, the the respect slash disrespect that seen or experienced or even felt by other cultures or even by your own culture. I don't know if y'all saw it a couple months ago, maybe a little longer than that. COVID got time crazy, but Adele I think she put like cornrows or like the box braids in her hair or something, and folks was like freaking out, like, how that white girl gonna do that? I'm like, I mean, she kind of slaying it, dog. like she
Okay.
kind of slaying it.
yes,
Listen,
skepticism.
had the braids and the Bantu knots, and sis was looking good. You hear me?
Like, so how do y'all feel about that? Like, not to move too deeply into appropriation quite yet, but as far as like the respect and the disrespect, have you seen that with like different hairstyles being viewed certain ways by certain cultures, or it's just whatever?
Um, I mean, when it comes to my hair, I've seen people really not understand that naps is okay. You get what I'm saying? Whether they be black or white. And I do see a lot of white people now starting to try to do this lock thing, and it is kind of weird for me. But I don't. When it comes to the appropriation, I do feel like sometimes we do the most. Um, like this is we're in America. Personally, I feel like this is a place where people come to share their culture, learn from one another. Especially growing up in New York, it's a place where if you want Chinese food, you can go down the road. If you want Mexican food, you can go down the road. You get what I'm saying? This is a place where we come together and share what we've learned. Like there's no such thing as American culture. You get what I'm saying? Well, to me personally, like there's black culture. I do get that. And I do get that a lot of times people want to take things from us and never give us credit for it. But we're here to share at the end of the day. You get what I'm saying? So I do feel like sometimes we do go a little bit too hard when it comes to things like that. Like if it looks nice, it looks nice. Like stop hating. You get what I'm saying? Just because you can't pull it off don't mean she can't. You get what I'm saying? But
Uh,
that's just how I feel.
Yeah, I think it's not so much the disrespect of the hair, but more or less the fact that that we as black people are accepting of someone else trying to either wear their hair a certain way. So for instance, um like with the whole Adele thing, I saw so many comments of people that were upset. And I'm like, they're braids, they're Bantu knots, however she wore her hair. And I'm like, she's not doing anything crazy. She's not like making it look bad. As a matter of fact, hell, if anything, she made it look good because I mean, whoever did her hair did a really good job. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like we, because of our culture, we feel like we tangibly own it and we don't want to let anybody else have it.
Good.
So I feel like, I guess we'll get into this a little bit later too with the whole appropriation thing. We use that word, I would call it too loosely sometimes. But we'll talk about that a little bit later.
We right there. We right there.
Well, since we're on appropriation, we might as well stay on appropriation. My view on it has changed slightly. I was at one point hardcore gung ho, like don't touch it if you leave it alone, don't do nothing with it, don't look at it like you want it, just move. But I think that I've come to understand that you're right, Petra. We do a little too much sometimes. And when I actually dig into it and think about it, I think what gets me the most about quote unquote appropriation is for me the idea of how can you hate something, me, then want it for yourself. That's what burns me. When it's 2020 and we're just now getting laws passed to say that you can't discriminate against my hair in the world. You can't not hire me because you don't like my hair. It's the year 20. We're supposed to be in the future right now, 2020.
You don't know. Now it's 2021. Know what you into.
But then, you know, like we'll just say I'm going to work and I'm really mindful of my hair and I'm making sure that it looks nice and neat. Like Petra was saying, I'm if I have twists or something, I'm making sure there's no frizz or anything like that, so it's nice. So no one says to me at work. But then I turn around and there's a white girl with box braids, and I'm like, how does that happen? How does that work? What I've come to realize is she might not be someone who does not appreciate my culture. She might not be someone who is saying black people's heads is nappy, ill, and then go out and get a black hairstyle. She could very easily be someone who loves my culture, loves the way our hair looks, and says, "Wow, that's so cute. I want to do it." And I think that we get lost in a lot. And like if you look at other cultures, like you said, the word appropriation gets thrown around very loosely. Um, Asian appropriation, something that here in America we hear a lot. But then when you hear like Japanese people who are from and living in Japan talk about it, they'll say, "No, we love when other people take part in our culture and wear our clothes and listen to our shows and things like that. We love it." And I feel like we're kind of the same way. We love sharing our culture as far as we love sharing our music, we love sharing our dance, we love sharing our food, we love sharing all these things about ourselves to the world.
But it's
We also have to, and we also have to, we have to understand that with that, people are going to love it and they're going to want to take part in it, and that's okay. Obviously, education does come with it. You should want to understand our culture as a whole. Should make sure that you're not talking down on our culture. But I don't feel like we should have a issue with genuinely appreciating of our culture.
is to me, I almost feel like we as black people as a whole tend to pick and choose what we like to accept
Yeah.
when it comes to something like that. Because say I know John from around the way, and John is just as white as these walls, but he grew up in the hood. He know, you know what I mean? So we
Yeah.
accept that. But Mr. Jimmy from Kansas, we looking at him sideways. Like you can't come on, we can't really pick and choose this now, you know. So we as a people have to do better. Not, you know, also when it comes to that as well.
I feel like there's like this very, 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 very fine line between appropriation and appreciation. And I think that instinctively, intuitively, as Black people, it just makes more sense for us to lean more towards the appropriation side because of our history in this country, right? Like, there's like pretty much nothing that you can point to and say, oh, white people didn't take this or try to take this from us at some point throughout history in America. So I think it's really easy to look now and say, yo, like, I want to put on the Black person. And, you know, like growing up for me, listening to music, watching movie shows, all of these different things, seeing the different hairstyles and in the way that hairstyles were being either represented. Drug dealer always had a fro or cornrows. Like he just did. I mean, like there was okay. Mekhi Phifer and Peyton Flu, he didn't have it. I mean, but like outside of that, like you know what I mean, like you didn't see like it was just certain styles. So in the real world now, cornrows are associated with drug dealers and ball players and dread. Like you can like I know people, white people, tell you like, oh, like if we're going to play basketball or football or something, and they see somebody with dreads, you want him on your team because dudes with dreads can ball. And so it's like, do you think dreads make like? Does that make somebody better? So it's like, are you appreciating that culture and recognizing like, hey, what tends to happen is when I see people with hairstyles into in this particular group of people, they tend to operate and function this. And so it's like when we see people like Adele, or we see the white guy who didn't grow up in the hood, who is from Kansas, and he has like the free formed locks, and you can tell like he's been growing them for years because they're down his back and they're crazy. And it's like, oh man, he just wants to be Black. When in reality, he's just a stoner who listens to a bunch of porn and Bob Marley. Like,
right.
Like he's not trying to be Black. He's not even like in his mind, he's not even appropriating our culture. He saw the dude from Korn with his hairstyle. It's like, yo, rap. Like I want to, you know what I mean? And so I think we're so conditioned and programmed to believe that they're always out to get us, and our experiences reinforce that. Yo, everything that ever done has been trying to stop us or take away from us. I want to hold on to this. Like this, you can't have. Like Dom said, you can't have. Share the music, share some of our food, like our art, all of that. But why you want my hair, dog? You know what I mean? Like it's mine. Can I just have one thing?
Now, you know what? For me, you reminded me of something. It's I don't mind the sharing. I'm a sharer. I love to share. However, I don't like the you took something. Oh, you're gonna, you know, take cornrows, but then you're gonna call them boxer braids. No, they're cornrows. Don't try to twist it and turn it to something else that it's not.
Don't make it your own.
Yeah.
So that's my issue. That's where I have the problem. Like, sis, I
Yeah.
know good and well that them braids was originated in Africa, boo. Don't do that.
Right. And that's when it starts to move into appropriation. Like I don't know, a couple 4 or 5 years ago, post was going around, and it was a white woman advertising this wonderful idea that she had about taking some material and wrapping her head up and being able to sleep with it and keep her hairstyle. And it's like, oh man, what do we call this? Like a do-rag?
Right.
That's not new.
A bonnet? Like, what do you mean? We've been doing this for years. Like, this ain't nothing new. It might be new to you, but it ain't new to us.
That what was the other one? Chopped and Screwed. They got a new name for Chopped and Screwed. Oh, I can't remember what it is, but it's all of a sudden now there's this new phenomenon of taking a beat and slowing it down and changing the key as if we haven't been doing that for years and years. So yeah, that's my thing. Like, okay, let's learn to share more. Let's learn to allow, come in, and appreciate. But don't take it and twist it.
Like,
I honestly think that us as people too, we have to start like I know personally a lot of black people that are into like anime and stuff like that. We got to start beating up on ourselves for having our own people appreciate other cultures and not wanting to be quote unquote black all the time. You get what I'm saying? Like we if we learn to appreciate other cultures and learn to appreciate ourselves, I feel like this will cut out some of the noise and some of the problems that we have when we see other people's trying stuff that we like. You get what I'm saying? I feel like that's part of the problem too. We're so caught up on everybody trying to be hard and black all the time and just trying to push that agenda forward that we just stop. We just need to stop and take the time to just breathe and appreciate ourselves and appreciate what we can see. You get what I'm saying? Just
yeah.
take some time out and just smell the flowers.
Yeah, and that's so like one of the things that I've seen opening up in the last few years is the understanding of black culture amongst black people. Because for a long time it was this: black people are this way, and if you're not this way, then you're not really black. And so a lot of us, like a lot of people that I know my age, are now in a place where they're like comfortable opening up with like, yo, I was never really into that, or I was really always into it. Like I used to listen to, well, I still do, rock music, country music, and like around black people, oh, you trying to be like a white boy, and it's like, no, I'm just listening to music, man. I like music, and so I think like to your point, Petrino, as we open up ourselves to other cultures and allow our people to integrate and be influenced by others, learn to appreciate these cultures and accept the fact that culture is just something that we should be sharing. That's how we get the perspectives, growth, this understanding. Whereas if we just like stay black in some corner off to ourselves, then what else are people going to think of us other than what they've seen in this movie or from that one black person? That also, I think that one of the things that happens as we open up cultures for them more is we allow space for people who have no desire to dribble a ball to have locks in their hair, and it just be normal, right? Like people who don't rap, who don't sell drugs, and who don't play ball have locks too. It's like there's all different hairstyles that we all have and don't belong to a certain type of just because you have this hair. And I think that's one of the ways that we press ourselves. No, you can only do this. That we didn't allow ourselves room to explore our culture ourselves. And really, it's interesting, man. Really interesting. And I got a lot more that I want to say, but I'm gonna save that. We in Black History Month all month. I'm gonna save it, but yeah.
Whew. So kind of the last thing I wanted to touch, and got an appropriation, so we skipped over it, but I want to hit this one because I personally think that it doesn't get talked about enough. Um, this whole episode has been about our hair and other races maybe feeling entitled to it or whether or not they should be allowed to participate in it. But I want to know if you've ever faced any situation where you feel like other black people have had an issue with your hair. I know personally I have. Um, just getting glances, looks from other black folks if their hair is not nice and neat. And I feel like a lot of that comes from maybe needing to fit the white man growing up to survive, and then those kind of ways of thinking sticking. But I've definitely witnessed it, and it is enough to kind of keep you from wanting to explore your own hair for fear that your own people are going to have an issue. But have either of you had any experience like that?
All the time, all the time. And I feel like I get it from our people the most. And it's mostly because they feel like you can't get a job if your hair is a certain way, or somebody's automatically going to think you a thug or if you get pulled over, it's up for you because the cops automatically going to be scared. And it's not like that all the time. You get what I'm saying? It's how you present yourself. It's how you talk to people. I feel like we have to get out of the mindset of we have to be this way and start letting people be their own individual selves. You get what I'm saying? And let them express themselves. Like I had a hard time when I was like 18, 19, with people just accepting the way my hair was and how I wanted to wear my hair. And I'm like, it's mine. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're not paying for my haircut. You get what I'm saying? You're not going to be the one combing my hair or brushing my hair. You get what I'm saying? Let me wear how I want to wear it. If I want to wake up and my hair is lopsided, that's my choice for the day. You get what I'm saying? And if I feel like I can get a job like that, you should help push me and believe in me too. You get what I'm saying? I feel like we really need to work on that.
Let's spit this.
Ooh, child. I said, "Ooh, child." He hit on some notes right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't disagree with anything he said, because I can remember, growing up, if you had your hair natural, it was considered nappy. If you relaxed it and wore it straight, you were trying to be white. With locks, they said, like you said earlier, they said, oh, it was nasty and dirty. So it's like, and this is from us. This is from our people. This isn't necessarily from anybody else or a different type of culture or anything. This is from our folks. And I mean, granted, things have gotten better, but at the same token, I mean, everybody's not on that natural, journey, and everybody's not on that, creamy crack journey. So it's like, it's almost like a lose-lose situation until we all get on one accord and just let everybody just live, just let everybody just do whatever they want to do with their hair. And like you mentioned earlier with the whole Crown Act thing, I mean that was leaps and bounds, but it's sad that it took this long or not even this long, the fact that even had to come out in order for it to be okay. So like we were talking about locks earlier. Honestly, I've been wanting locks for years. I would say I returned back to my natural state in 2015, and I kept like, oh man, I really want to lock my hair. I really want to lock my hair. But I knew at the time the military wasn't going to allow me to do that. And if I did, I would have to be slick about it and like either wear braids over it or wear a wig over it and not, not have it out at work. And then I think in 2018, I think is when they passed, either 17 or 18, is when they allowed, in my particular branch, females to start wearing locks. And I was honestly skeptical about it because I was kind of like, oh, we can wear locks now? Like, dang, do I even want to take the chance and get them now? Because I'm scared y'all might recall it and say, oh no, y'all can't do that no more, because they done had some stuff like that. They might say, hey, yeah, you can do that, and then a month later they be like, pump your brakes, we gonna retract that. So I was like, let me hold off.
Delay my life.
So I literally waited for like a year, probably a year and a half, and I was like, okay, they hadn't rescinded it. I'm seeing a whole lot of us rocking these locks. I think it's about time for me to go ahead and make this move. But it's just crazy that it took that long for it to be okay and to be recognized as a nice, style of hair. It's not dirty. As a matter of fact, if anything, I've probably seen better lock styles than any other hairstyle, to be completely honest with you. So it's just sad that it took this long, but it's a small win, and we'll take it for what it is right now.
That's a very interesting. When I did the both, and the most recent definitely had. Why would you do? You're like, shouldn't do that, and then what I've noticed is everybody has an opinion for sure. And then when it comes to hair, every black person get that hair. They either do hair, or they know somebody who do hair, or they know some style, and they know this, that, and the third. I've heard all different types of things. How often I should go in for the retwist, what I should do, like make sure you don't cut them until this. can I just be on my journey? Like is that acceptable for me to just be on my journey, whatever it is, whether that's me, as you say, conforming to the white man's world in my hairstyle, or if I'm, trying to go back to my roots and go all natural with it, whatever it is. Like, can I just be on my journey and like in that be cool? One thing to offer advice, and it's honestly even one thing to offer your opinion. But then there's those people who love to go like step beyond offering. We did a conversation close to a year ago where we were talking about like black respectability, like and I was one of them, and I think we are one of them. I felt like I had to police other black people maneuvering through the world because you're going to make us look bad as a whole, and I don't want that. And I see that a lot with hair. Whoa, that how I was like as a person, how this person is with hair. Like yo, you shouldn't do that. Like with my locks, if I'm ready for a recess and I got an appointment and my appointment is and this joint is like crazy, I would put on a cap. Like I wouldn't be up here showing you the crazy like of like I need this because for me personally, I want that joint fresh and be fire. Like that's the only way I want you to for real see it. And then there's those who would have a cap on. Why are you wearing this type of? Why are you wearing that out in public? Like, can I just do me? Like, is that okay? And I mean, I guess honestly, the answer is no, it's not. It seems like that's just something that we're gonna have to endure. I mean, hopefully, carefully. I think what it's gonna take is people like us, people like those of you guys engaged in comments, having these conversations, sharing these perspectives. This is what's acceptable for me. This is unacceptable. I'm not the same as the next man, woman. You're gonna have to figure out how to operate. But we're ready to close out this conversation. So what I wanted to do, what I love to do, outline for you, but it's not much, right? So what we do at the end of every episode, have a segment, final thought, where yes, it's 60 seconds. What it is that they would want all the viewers, tomorrow, 20 years from whenever they're seeing it, away from this conversation. So if that's one thing, if that's 20 things that you can, what do you want people to, and you go ladies first. What do you want to?
Um, I think the biggest thing will probably just be acceptance and love. I mean, I don't care what your culture is, where you grew up, where you're from. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I mean, sticking with the whole hair theme and the cultural theme, if you're interested in other people's cultures or other people's hair or other people's just whatever, just educate yourself. Just be respectful, be mindful of since now everything is so appropriation, just make sure that you're doing your due diligence to be smart about it and to, like I said, just respect everybody. I don't care whether it's their opinion, their culture, whatever. Just live, laugh, love, and respect everybody.
That's tough to follow up. I ain't gonna lie. Honestly, I have to say mostly the same thing. Just have respect for one another and for other cultures and for your culture. Whether you be black and you're respecting black culture, or you're into Asian culture, whether it be Japanese, Korean, or whatever. And just more love. There needs to be more love out there in this world, honestly. There's too much hate going on right now. Honestly, just more love.
I feel that too.
You to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I think we're all saying that respect, respect for yourself, which is easier said than done, especially when we're talking about here. But then also respect for others and other cultures and culture, just respect and detrimental. Or, you know, it's my hair. Just let me do what I want to do with it. And I really feel like if we're all able to have that view of each other, that's your head, do what you want to do with it, and expect that same energy back, I think that would fix a lot of things. So yeah, that's my thing. Let's respect each other, our hair, and then also deeper than that, our cultures, and let each other.
My best to be a little bit different, much different. Everybody. Actually, kind of look for my final thought. I want to the white voice, right? I don't know too many black people don't know what it is or don't have one. In fact, they even did a movie with sorry to bother you, talking about the white voice where you're going in for an interview or you're answering the phone for a job. It's like, hello, how are you doing? You know, you're real prim and proper and neat. And I think that as black people, we understand that we have a white voice. And if we as black people have a white voice, other people black hair. You know. And it's like granted for us, maybe that was more, but it doesn't change the fact that it. So if we have to some or all of their culture, then it would only logical other culture, our culture. And so I think the best and biggest, easiest way to avoid is to when you see like talking about earlier, educate just to make sure you understand what you're doing here. This is what that means. You know, wearing this hairstyle when you now give that understanding. You know, you don't get to talk like Ian Black isn't having this having that hairstyle. Just who we are, what like you're allowed to like, but have to get honor. Don't make it. This is the new thing that I just created all on my own, out of the blue. Yeah, you know, tie in, I guess, with what that understanding, that respect, that acknowledgement of our differences, rather than drawing back and pulling because of them, leaning in more. Then I don't know, maybe if you're black and you see somebody, whatever reason you don't like it, maybe about it, find out why they even decided to do that in the first place. And you know, that's just a good conversation start, which is what we're all about here. So that's what I would leave her. An opportunity to learn rather than
Absolutely.
I'll close us out with some prayer. Oh, Jesus, we just thank you for the opportunity to come and have a conversation about black hair, all of the nuances that conversation black hair is for people sharing their various opinions. So, great, amen.
And again, thank you guys so much for being. So for everybody viewing, thank you so much for stopping in out with us. Just so that everyone knows, because it's Black History Month, entire month we're covering black topics. Some are going to be harder to talk about than others, but this is what we're going to focus on for this month. So stay with us. Remember, our episodes are now Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but also look out for us during the week. We'll have more for you. Again, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us, and you'll have a good night.